Good morning, gun talkers. How you doing? Day 4 of SHOT Show 2018, or for some of us, it's like day 6, right, Mia?
Right.
We're here with Mia Anstine, and Mia, for people who don't know, explain who you are and what you do.
So I have a pretty long bio, but I'll kind of try to condense it for everybody. I'm an outdoor guide. I'm a communicator. I'm a podcast host. I'm a guest host on podcasts. I guest host on outdoor TV shows, and I also am an outdoor writer and all around just a mentor trying to recruit people into hunting and shooting sports.
Well, and we thought we'd love to get you probably see different stuff than what we see. There's no way to cover this show entirely. I think they said it's about 650,000 square feet, 64,000 people who are all standing in the aisles while you're trying to get by.
Yes.
And so it's a big show. I think I heard once that if you wanted to see every single booth at SHOT Show, you would have to spend about 30 seconds at each booth in the 4 days. And then you could maybe stop by every booth, which is obviously impossible.
Impossible, yeah.
So what have you been working on this week at SHOT, and what types of things are you seeing?
So this week and every week at SHOT Show, part of the thing is that I love is getting to see everybody and seeing in person so we can kind of collaborate and meet, discuss, and make plans for the coming year. And so even though New Year's already passed, it's like the start of the year for me in the writing world and stuff like that. So I've met with editors and publishers, and one of the assignments I had is to find 10 new items for women.
Okay.
And they had to be new, not last year's. I mean, like last year's Sitka was the big giant thing, Sitka Women's. And although they're working on more things for 2019, there wasn't anything new this year.
From Sitka?
So, yeah, from Sitka. But I do have to slow down and stop because they did have a huge launch. And that was their men's wader.
Yeah, I looked at these
I was
things.
so excited about those. I mean, even though they're not for women, I was just like, wow, like they're really cool.
I think sometimes people think of Gun Talk. We do a ton of stuff with pistols and ARs and all this stuff. I'm a very avid duck hunter, and when I saw those, we hunt in South Louisiana, and it may be 70 degrees. And they're always, all the duck stuff that I see usually is like, it'll keep you warm, super insulated. I'm like, no, I'll die. I'll pass out.
But although this year you guys had a bunch of cold.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true. We did get a little cold
in Colorado, our rivers and the ponds haven't frozen over because in southern Colorado, it's warm.
Yeah.
And so you guys are getting all our cold. But that's a couple of my friends. I'm like, you guys definitely need these waders. And in Colorado, we could sure use something like that.
Yeah, so these Sitka waders are thin, lightweight waders. Are probably Sitka would be able to. They'd come over here and slap me in the head and say there's more to it. But
they
but you
have
can layer underneath them.
Flat seaming. They have articulated seams around the knees, so you'll be able to move and maneuver.
Yeah.
The boots are like air soft. I mean, they're so light, and the air soles on those, they're super comfortable. That you can zip the zipper down to vent. I mean, and hopefully they've got some other stuff in the works for women's hunting. And then after that, they'll do the women's wader, I hope.
Right, yeah.
I mean, they didn't promise me, but I was pretty excited about that, just to be able to maneuver around, because we don't have the big marshes where we're going to sit all day. We'll go to one spot and set up, and if it doesn't work out there, we'll have to pack up and relocate.
Gotcha.
So you really it's nice to be able to move around.
Yeah, you don't want to kind of be doing this stuff.
and especially, I mean, sitting in a canoe or a dory, like, it's going to be comfortable. So I'm excited for the guys, and that seems kind of weird when I'm looking for women's stuff, but I was like, wow, look at this. It's so cool.
So you said, before we started this, you said, tell me about trends you're seeing and all this stuff. And you said, I have to go find 10 new products for women at the SHOT Show to do this article. But you said it was actually kind of tough. There's not a lot of new stuff for women this year. Past years, there's been a lot. Yeah,
and I think what's going on is a lot of people, it takes a lot of time for people to introduce quality stuff, and they're taking that time, which is appreciated.
Not just pink.
Right, not just slapping pink or purple on a bag or a backpack or something like that. So it has been a challenge, Actually, Under Armour came out with a bib and jacket that is really nice. So that's new, and that was, it's on my list and stuff like that. Girls with Guns has some new stuff. And actually, even though it's not hunting outdoor, they have a tactical line that they just launched. So Girls with Guns, they've got that coming up. It'll be launched this coming year.
You were telling me about a shotgun that you really liked.
Yeah. So I write for Beretta USA. And Beretta came out with a ladies shotgun. You guys were telling me Siren came out with a new upgraded. They've had ladies, but they have another new one. But then I also just happened by the Charles Daly booth, and they have just a phenomenal ladies shotgun that they put a lot of time and engineering into that. It's got the lowered stock. The butt of the gun's going to sit right in the spot there, the raised comb, but then it also has articulated angulation, so it's not going to hit a woman's breast muscle. And it just, the whole design of it is just phenomenal.
Real well thought out.
Very well.
Not just scale it down on size or whatever.
Yeah, and not just like drop and do the comb. Right now they only have it in right hand, because obviously with that twist, if a left-handed shooting it, it's the wrong direction.
Right.
So eventually they'll come out with a left, but this year they came out with the right hand.
Okay. Yeah.
12 gauge and 20 gauge.
Hey, give the lefties some love here.
Well, and I always have to ask, because my daughter's a lefty, and although I love to shoot and hunt and stuff, she shoots competitively in shotgun, and she is the real shotgun shooter. But so I always have to ask. I'm like, so do you have a left-handed?
Right. So that's a great segue. You're talking about your daughter going off to college, and she's been to the SHOT Show before?
She used to watch me, like I would share on social media, SHOT Show, and she was always so jealous because she'd be at school and at home at basketball, couldn't come, and she wasn't old enough.
Right.
So as soon as she was old enough, she came, and she's been coming ever
16?
since.
16? Is that the cutoff?
Yeah, 16 is the cutoff.
Okay. You have to be 16 years old or older and obviously be in the industry in some sort of way.
So that's when she started coming, and this year she was just so disappointed because she's excited that she's in college, but she's missing SHOT Show because this week is their first week back to classes.
So, and I'm bringing this up because she's a shooter, she's a hunter, and that factored into when she was looking at colleges and where she went and having her guns, right?
Right. And that's something, it's kind of like you wonder, how do you judge if you're successful as a parent? And I'm sure all parents have different ways of how they judge. But one of the things, I was just talking with one of my editors yesterday, when she turned 18, like most kids want to go buy chewing tobacco, they want to go buy a knife or lottery ticket. The day she turned 18, she went and bought a case of shells. And then she came home and she was so upset. She's like, they didn't even card me. And I was like, she looks like she's 12, and I'm like, they didn't card you? And she's like, no. So then she started researching, and she got her own shotgun.
Okay.
And she bought her own shotgun. She already had a couple that we had gotten her, but she's like, this is the one I want, and she bought that. Then when she chose her college, she's like, she shoots trap, she shoots sporting clays and skeet, and she's like, how do I keep competing when I go off to school? And the thing about competition is also you get to meet people who like what you like.
Right.
So she found her school, she got in touch with them. How can I store my guns? How can I bring my hunting gun? How can I bring my bow? And as she researched, the college actually has like an armory where they will store the students' guns, which I think a lot of people don't know.
That's neat.
That there is that possibility.
That's an option in certain schools.
Yeah, and even though guns aren't allowed on campus, she can put them in the armory. She can check them in and out, go to her competition, go hunting.
Like with campus police maybe or something like that?
Yes.
Okay. You just have to ask.
Yeah, you just have to ask. And I think that's something that a lot of people, parents, we kind of overlook in researching a school where our kids are going to go. I mean, you look at the academics, you look at, the quality of the school, but you also want to look at something like that if you want your kids to carry on traditions.
So, we've had 3 full days on the SHOT Show floor. What other trends are you seeing or other products that you've seen this week?
This week, let's see. Speaking of waterfowl, as I was talking to you about waders, Mojo has now soft-bodied waterfowl decoys. Okay. So I thought those were pretty cool, rechargeable batteries.
So it still has the spinning wings. It still has
the spinners,
but it's soft.
Yeah, so they're not going to crack as easily, stuff like that in the cold. Let me think of what else have I. The big thing, like I had a lot of friends asking about, is the Primos 360 surround view hunting blind.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a double bull blind, which I have a couple of those already, and I love them. But the double bull blind, when you're inside, the whole wall is clear, so you can see out.
Oh, cool.
You're going to not be backdoored by a deer as it comes around toward the window. Normally you have to wait till you see it, and then you've got to get ready.
Right.
And so, if you think a deer's coming and it's really a giant squirrel, you're going to be able to see what that is over there. So that, I think, is a huge thing, and it's very exciting to see them with that coming out. Yeah.
Very cool. So How can people find you and follow you and see what you're up to?
So they can find me. My website is miaanstine.com. All my social media is my name, and then they can find me at the Mac Outdoors podcast. And my daughter and I co-host that. We started that when she went to college.
Okay.
And it's kind of a way for us to connect back and discuss things that have happened on our competitions or outdoors.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I also contribute to Armed Lutheran Radio. And that I give like shooting or hunting tips, and I try to kind of gear them toward women because there are a lot of guy contributors. I'm the only lady on there, and give them another perspective. I'm also the big hunting one on there, which is kind of different with all men, but so I give a lot of hunting tips on there too.
What was your best hunt this year? I know you go and do a lot of hunts, guided or your own.
This year, archery season in Colorado, archery elk hunting, I actually didn't tag anything, but it was probably one of the best seasons. I had a lot of close encounters with a lot of bulls.
Wow.
In Colorado, it's either sex tag, but where the area we were hunting is really, really rough, and there are really large bulls there. So I was holding out for Mr. Big, and I mean, it was probably my favorite hunt, I say, because being within like 5 yards of a bull elk is so fun, and
your heart's going.
Just like and I wish I was better at filming while I'm hunting, but I'm not. So I've got a couple fuzzy videos like on my Facebook of elk that close where I'm trying not to spook them until they wind you or something. But this season was really great because I did get so close to so many of them, and to me, just being able to like work on their level and get that close and test your skills, even though I did shoot at one and had my arrow blow up.
Really?
So I would have had one probably the second day of season, but
stuff happens.
Malfunctions. Always check your gear before you go. I did check it, but didn't see anything when I
stuff happens.
So so that's the way it goes. And it's interesting that you ask, because a lot of my most memorable hunts are hunts that I actually didn't tag something, but the experience was so cool that it's like my favorite memories. Yeah.
Well, we'll be doing lots more live broadcasts today at SHOT Show, so make sure to check us out on Facebook, YouTube, subscribe, ring the bell on YouTube, all that stuff. But we're wrapping up the last day, day 4, thank goodness. SHOT Show 2018. Stay tuned for more gun talk.